Welcome to Cringe Club, the podcast that celebrates everything cringe. Now, in this episode, somehow we managed to cover, I think, every single bodily function. But you have to hear Athena's stories. They are hilariously cringe. I'm still laughing about what she sent to her high school teacher. We also talk about kids embarrassing us and Madonna's alleged cure for athlete's foot. I hope you enjoy it. In the Cringe Club today, we have a very special guest. She is a comedian and author and host of one of my favourite podcasts, Bust or Trust. It is Athena Kugblenu. I hope I pronounced that right.
It's a silent G, which is so cool, like silent gangster. Generally, like I'm a silent
Cool.
G.
How should I pronounce it?
Kugblenu, but that's cool. Don't be cringe. It's cool
Sorry.
to just attempt it. It's not a weird name, so just say it out loud. Yeah.
I meant to ask
yeah.
you before I pressed record. It's too late. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm nothing but not on brand. So so welcome to the club.
Thank you.
This is going to be your chance to get any cringes or embarrassments you may have been carrying around your whole life off your chest. Because I reckon by sharing our shame, it loses its power, makes us feel better. So hopefully this will be a positive experience for you. But before we get started with all that, I've just got a little question for you. Now, your brilliant book, History's Most Epic Fails, came out last week. Now, Athena's books are really good because they're funny stories from history, basically. So you're laughing, but you're also learning at the same time. So I just wanted to ask you, what would you say is the cringiest story from history?
So I'm going to say the cringiest one has to be Christopher Columbus getting lost. Because most people, especially if you watch horrible histories, will know that Christopher Columbus wasn't quite the explorer that we thought he was. And when he landed, he did like 4 big voyages. And on one of his voyages, he took his boat to the what we now call the Caribbean, but he thought he was in India. And he was so convinced he was in India, he named the place he landed the West Indies. To be like, so like if you go to, for example, to West London, like Acton, I live in London, you're in West London. When you are in the Caribbean, you are to the west of India, but you're like 4,000 kilometers west of India. And what's really cringe about this is people were like, oh, it's fine, Christopher, we'll just keep calling it this. And we're the West Indies. And it's like, we just live with this now. Like we're oh, coincidentally, I'm wearing a Guyanese top now. This is complete coincidence that I probably subconsciously knew I wanted to say this, but what's cringe is not just that he did it. It's just that we were so in those days wedded to just saying yes to these people. And yes, Christopher, you are to the west of India forever. Like literally in the year 5000, we will the West Indies cricket team, University of West Indies. But we're not. Could you even imagine like India being called like East Britain? But like it just wouldn't. It just that's the equivalent. It's so stupid. And it cringes me to this day. And even like, it is a bit serious now, but like even at school now, you'll do school projects on Christopher Columbus. One of my friend's daughter had to make a hat because you have to do weird things at primary school. And she was asked to make a hat that Christopher Columbus might wear. And her mum, who's my friend, said, "We're not making a hat for Christopher Columbus. He's responsible for the genocide of millions of people who look like us." Like, why would you ask her to do this? This is so insane. And the school were like, "Oh, actually, yeah, that's quite correct, historically accurate." So so very cringe. Everything about him is cringe. But particularly that we have to live with this name that bears no reality. It bears no reality bears no truth to the geographical reality whatsoever. It's mad.
It is, and I'm surprised. Can't they just go and change it all? But you know.
But it's all like colonial languages and everything. So, for example, the Middle East is the Middle East. It's because it's between the UK and India, right?
Okay.
And the Far East is the Far East is because it is further east than India. That's the only reason why we use this language, right? That's the only. It doesn't make any sense. Like, but it's in relation, like to the UK, right? That isn't geographically correct if you're talking about if you live in Bangkok, for example. If you live in Bangkok, the Far East is not the Far East. You're in it, right?
Yes,
So how can you call
yes,
it?
yes.
So even the language we use to describe geography is often reflective of kind of like these very colonial
Yeah.
outlooks, and we don't change it because it's really like it's kind of handy language. It's really useful
Well,
shorthand, but it's so
yeah.
it's riddled in kind of oppression and assumptions and all kinds of things.
It is. But I mean, do you think he would feel like an idiot now? Do you think he'd be embarrassed that everyone's saying, oh, come on, Chris?
The way to think about this is to think about what people who are a bit like him now today behave like. So let's look at Boris Johnson, okay, who had one of the worst premierships that we could imagine. He sort of didn't steer us through COVID. He drove us into a wall, basically, and then he was just like shamed into having to resign. And then he put out a book and said, "Buy my book, I'm so great." And he kept threatening to come back. There was no self-awareness whatsoever.
Yeah.
Matt Hancock, Gove, all of these Tories that just put the country in the toilet and then flushed, not the little flush, the big flush, even though both buttons do the same thing, let's be real. But so I think their attitude reflects what his attitude would be like. I don't think he'd care. I think he'd double down. Absolutely.
That's so true.
Double down. Yeah.
Like, I'd be hanging my head down in shame. I would not want to. I would go and be a hermit somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? But these kind of people just stick to their guns, and they are so arrogant. So yeah, you're right. I think Christopher Columbus would have just done that, wouldn't he?
He named the planets, you know what I mean? He'd called Jupiter Far West or whatever. Like literally just none of these people, their entitlement is so strong. Yeah. They would never acknowledge their inadequacies or mistakes.
It's quite depressing that not much has really changed in that way, sadly. Now, one story from history that I always think must have been a bit cringe for the person involved. I think, wasn't there one king that died on the toilet?
Oh no, I never heard it. Well, Elvis, obviously, famously.
Yeah, I know Elvis, but I'm sure wasn't there a king who, or did I just not listen in my history?
No, class? You're not. That sounds about right. So what I would say is, if this is a European king, like in a lot of gout, a pig, a lot of sheep, a lot of cow, the diets were not, they weren't on the kind of healthy diet where they're eating nuts and berries and things like that. These were just like potatoes and meat. So it stands to reason that one of them, but the only thing that doesn't track is that they didn't have toilets back then. Like, we were quite dirty.
Oh yeah, so I guess he would have just died on the
in the hole, the cesspit, cesspit, bedpan. So we went into toilets in Western Europe for a little while. We were sort of behind. Yeah, I've just so you know, I've just Googled this, but I want to apologise. This is AI, so it's probably wrong. But I've got
go on.
King George II. He died while straining on the toilет,
and we've that's it. Yes,
we've all been close to the edge when it's like not enough fibre, and this is King Edmund Ironside of England.
Okay.
But a Viking stabbed him, but those Vikings were pretty pesky.
They were,
So I would take death from stabbing over straining. Imagine a poo so hard to get out it kills you. That's worse than childbirth. You. Yeah,
that is a cringy way to die. Yeah. And actually, this is probably going to gross some people out, but I've had 2 kids. No one just said to me, it's like having a massive poo in some ways, having a painful massive poo.
One of the most abiding memories I have of primary school is sex education and being shown a video of a baby being born, and the baby was covered. And we were like, imagine a load of 10-year-old, 11-year-olds looking at this, and it's like, God. It's covered in poo. And imagine volunteering to have your birth filmed so you could be part of a sex education video, and then doing a poo whilst giving birth. And you're like, and you've already signed a disclaimer, so it has to go into all the schools.
That would be imagine that being your legacy.
And who do you tell? Like, I guess you just have to imagine somebody's grandchild is like, I think I saw you giving birth. But that's funny because that was a long time ago when I was in primary school. Funny. So that woman's probably elderly now. She's probably telling all her mates in the nursing home.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's actually quite hard to poo on the baby. I mean, in my experience, I had my first baby in the hot tub, I like to call it.
Oh, yeah, the birthing pool. That's so nice, that birthing pool, yeah.
It was great. But I'd heard that it was my first child, that this could happen. But I was like, I didn't realise they had someone with a little fishing net who was scooping out the poo as I was in there. It's like, wow, that's lovely, isn't it?
Yes.
How kind are these midwives? Because I was like, oh, I didn't even poo. And my mum, who was there, she was like, yeah, no, there was someone fishing. Yeah, you did.
You definitely,
But,
there were some floaters. There are some floaters.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we should probably move on. But one other quick one based on, like, I've been listening a lot to Bust or Trust, which is really good. So for anyone who doesn't know, you kind of take a mystery, don't you? Present the evidence for and against whether it's true, and then you get your listeners to decide whether it's true or false. So I was just thinking when I was listening, would you mind helping me with a quick kind of mystery stroke myth I heard a very long time ago?
Okay.
And I've always taken it as a fact, but it's only since I've got older, you start to question things. I've wondered about his credibility, so I feel you might be a good person to quickly help with this. So when I was younger, someone told me they read this article in one of those, those stupid Just 17 type magazines that had like top beauty tips from celebrities, and one of them, apparently from Madonna, said, like, hey, if you want to cure athlete's foot, you just need to pee on your feet. And that's it, apparently. So all this time, I've told people this over the years, how to cure it. And but it's just recently I've been thinking, is that actually true? Firstly, would Madonna submit this cure? What do you think?
Do you honestly believe that Madonna has ever had athlete's foot? Like, really?
Well, I don't know, but I have got some evidence because I'm going to admit something. Some people might find it a bit gross. I wee in the shower, okay? Goes down the plug hole anyway. But I've never had athlete's foot. So,
I mean, athlete's foot is a fungal infection, okay?
Yeah.
And you would then need something antibacterial to cure that. I'm just thinking about it scientifically. And the last time I checked, urine is a waste product from your body. So I would like to suggest that something that your body is ejecting as waste probably can't cure wouldn't cure something that would you define as an infection. However, it has other qualities that can be used for medicinal purposes. But I think Madonna at that point in her career was being a bit of a menace and was like, can I get my fans to urinate on themselves? But I'm not gonna. I don't know, because I know there's I believe there's ammonia in urine.
Right.
I don't know for sure.
Don't they use a jellyfish stings?
I don't know. So the jury's out.
Because it's. I quite like the idea that Madonna is just pranking everyone. And I've told so many people over the years.
Yes, why is Madonna giving podiatry advice in Just 17? Like, normally the articles are things like that, like how do you get spots to clear up?
Well, they were other celebrities. I think Kylie said how to make your hair shiny or whatever.
Right.
And then randomly, Madonna's just saying, how to cure athlete's foot as a beauty
And do you know what
tip.
she's doing there? She's showing her age. Do you know what I mean? All these teenagers, all the pop stars around her would have been like, how to shave your bikini line, how to do your eyebrows. And at her age, she's talking about, you know what, man, my corn's are out of control, guys. So you want to get yourself some hush puppies. That's what that is.
I think you're right. So, well, thank you for helping me clear that up. But so now we should really release some cringes, Athena. So I hope you're ready for it. So to start with, let's just go right back. Do you have a really early memory of experience that feeling of like utter cringe?
This one is like it's not really bad, but it's one that I just remember. So I've got a twin brother, and we used to go to swimming lessons after church on Sundays. And we, it's the 80s, so you were allowed to just be out on the street alone. So we'd walk to church alone, and then afterwards, we would be picked up by our dad in his car to go swimming. But sometimes when I was young, I would have these really silly ideas. Like I'd be like, do you know what? Why don't we save time and walk up to the corner of the road and he can just pick us up there. And for some reason, my brother said that's a good idea. So we stood on the corner of the street. So for whatever reason, my dad didn't drive the normal way. And he went to the church. We weren't there. And he ended up driving for God knows how long. We're thinking we'd been kidnapped or something. Anyway, our mum eventually finds us on this corner. And I think it was Mother's Day or whatever, because she had daffodils. And the beating we got with these daffodils on the street corner. When I say beating, I mean out in public, and I mean gentle beating, obviously.
Of course, well, they're only daffodils.
You know, we didn't have a lot of money, and it was the petrol that my dad would have wasted, I guess, looking for us.
Yes,
I just really distinctly remember thinking, we've given you these flowers. You know, this is just awful. How embarrassing and how silly. What were you doing? No, it's sort of, and I think that's kind of what parents did in the 80s. They just kind of whatever they had to hand, and it was daffodils on East End High on East End High Road in East Finchley.
Oh God.
And eventually, and I think we got to the swimming lesson on time. I also remember I used to lose things all the time as a kid. I don't really know how. And I remember losing my swimming costume and having to then go swimming wearing like normal clothes because my mum had paid for the lessons. And I always remember it was like a Kylie Minogue 2-piece, like a now it would be really fashionable because we all wear cordelets now, but it was like Bermuda shorts and a t-shirt. And I just remember and everyone was looking at me like, why are you wearing shorts and a t-shirt? I always remember most of my memories as a child just involved my mum making me do things.
Wasting money, that was a big thing I think we'd get told off for if it was or wasting food or something like that. So
when it was comic relief in the 80s, you'd have to like buy a nose for £1. So it's hard to explain, but like for my mum, she was like, why would I do that? And she painted our noses red with her lipstick.
Oh God.
And we had to go to school with these red painted noses. But what's crazy about children is because we didn't understand what red nose day was, I got away with it, right? No one cared. But it's only looking back, I'm like, that was ridiculous. That was so stupid.
I know. They did stuff like that to us all the time.
Yeah, don't forget, like, we're from here. So there's so much that my mum just didn't understand because she's an Indian Guyanese woman. She's just like,
that's true.
Why are you doing this? Like, it's a lot of it is just not connecting with what's going on. Like, at all. Even like when we'd go shopping, like we just wore the worst clothes because she was like, well, you're what's wrong with what? And she was a bit older than us. She was like an older parent, so she just didn't understand. We get our clothes from North Finchley Market or CNA. So my whole childhood is full of little moments like that where I just had to kind of just make do with that. Yeah.
And I think when you're really young, you're not as embarrassed by it. It's only, I think, when you're sort of teenage and your parents are still doing these embarrassing things. I think that's when I started to really be like, you know what, Mum, I don't think I want to go shopping for my clothes in pound stretcher anymore. So parents are definitely a big cause of embarrassment, I think, when you're growing up. But how about as you got older into secondary school and stuff like that? Were you a cringy tween and teen?
Yes and no. I think I became so introverted, I managed to avoid being cringy, if that makes sense, because I was just like, I think sometimes you can shield yourself from embarrassment by just staying in your lane. Do you know what I mean? Just
below the radar.
Below the radar. When my friends were going out, I would stay in, for example, and they were doing all these cool things, and I just thought if I did those things with you, I would embarrass myself. So I would not be wearing the right clothes. I would be really bad at dancing. I wouldn't know what to say to boys or whatever. So I would just stay away. So I did have cringe worthy moments, but I think that was in spite of trying so hard not to have them, as opposed to like running head first into embarrassment. Okay, so let's go through secondary school. So I'm gonna tell you the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Okay. So I'm 43 years old, and to this day, my spine chills at the thought of this. So I feel like I've misportrayed my teenage years during secondary school. I had a great time in secondary school in spite of myself. Because I had great friends and the banter was amazing. So here's this thing I used to do at school.
Right.
And I don't know how I got into it, and I don't know why, but we did it, okay? So me and a couple of my friends used to write poetry, right? But what's weird about this poetry is that it was like really like dirty. So it was like, so we would do this thing where when our friends had boyfriends, people would ask us to write them these poems to send to their boyfriends. And it would basically, we would just repress girls who weren't having experiences, but we can imagine them. Okay. So first thing to understand, the poems are wicked because we were really good writers, but they were also vile, like really disgusting. Yeah. Anyway, we went to girls' school, and I say this all the time. Hot male teachers in girls' school need their own Me Too moment. They really do. They need to come out and say it's not right what girls do to these teachers, right? And there was one teacher that inexplicably every girl had a fancy. I'm not even going to name this teacher. I'm not going to name the subject. It's just too embarrassing. But and then we thought, wouldn't it be fun to send this guy poems anonymously? Oh my God, so once a year or every now and again, we'd write something. We'd type it up on our one computer in our household. We'd print it out and we'd slide it under the staff room and like address it to him. Emily, God. I don't know how, but one day, and this is after years of doing this, by the way. We did this for years. Yeah. One day, he's teaching us, and it's like a substitute teacher. He's come in to replace a teacher, right? I can't remember how it happened. It comes out that I'm one of the perpetrators of this sexual abuse, basically. That's what it is. And I never wanted to just click my fingers and disappear so much in my life. I was just like, this is one of the worst things to happen to me. And luckily, he found it absolutely hilarious. Oh, thank God. Everyone else found it hilarious. But now I'm just like, I look back at it and I'm just like, what kind of insanity? Like, what were we thinking? Like, it just, to this day, I'm like, what was wrong with us?
I thought you meant you were just writing them. I did not think you would take it as far as to actually give him these poems.
The devil makes work for idle thumbs. And what I would say is it wasn't the best school in the world. I'm not blaming the school, by the way, but I'm just saying we didn't get a lot of kind of like stimulation.
That's probably the wrong word.
Just as a side note, like most of my friends from school, and I'm still kind of randomly in touch with them through like social media, they're like doctors and dentists and things like that. No one sat us down and said, oh, you could go to Oxbridge, or no one said you're really great. Like we were all like more or less straight A, really bright girls. And there was just nothing, like all I can say is the devil makes work for idle thumbs. And we just thought this would be fun for me to do. And we did. And I look back, and if I could change one thing from my past, it's I cringe. Now I go to schools like to promote my book and stuff. If my school called me, old school called back and said, can you come back? I'm like, I can never come back. I can never go back. It's just the shame of it is too.
I bet he was pretty flattered. Maybe he was really flattered.
I think he was used.
Kept these letters.
I hope not. I hope not. And I think he was used to the attention of girls. So it was just like water for ducks back. But like, it was just, oh God.
I mean, what were you hoping from these letters? Was it just for the?
It was for the crack. Do you know that? And I just don't understand why we would do something like that, or what would motivate us. But all I can say is like, teenage girls are just not right. The way heterosexual teenage girls, when they get fixations on men, like pop stars or young men, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't think anyone really talks to young girls about, how to handle their attraction and all this kind of stuff. And you're always taught to kind of, I guess, covet the attention of men. Especially like even the books I'm reading to my daughter now, it's all kind of like, even though you try really hard to have a diverse kind of set of reading materials for your kids, it's all like prince and princess and the man saving the woman and the dragon and the princess gets captured and all this kind of nonsense. And it's sort of, I guess your brain gets trained to see, to put men you find attractive on a pedestal in this weird way.
Yeah.
And it's cringy and awful. It's
But
terrible.
in a way, you were sort of challenging those stereotypes.
If you want to call it feminist, you can call it feminist. It won't hold, Emily Jane, it won't hold up in court, okay? Under historic offences,
not.
under the Malicious Communications Act, it will not hold up in court. That is feminism.
No,
do you know what I mean?
you're probably right.
Sadly.
I was grasping at straws.
Yeah.
I love to think he has kept
No, if you are listening to this, and I hope you're not, but if you are, I hope you set fire to them.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because that is quite cringy. But actually, that crush feeling when you're that young and it's quite new, it's really intense. I remember having a crush on someone. I was probably about 14, and I couldn't even eat.
It's really, it's something, we don't talk about this enough. Like, it happens to young girls, and with young boys, when there's so much storytelling about young boys being infatuated.
Yeah.
So if you're a young boy, you're like 40, and you fancy somebody, there are so many cultural references for you to know that what you're feeling is normal, and you can immediately set boundaries around that in your head. Whereas for young girls, we don't have that. Where do we tell those stories to young girls about there's somebody that you like and you're attracted to them? And it's kind of like, how do you describe those feelings? How do you package them? It's always the boy fancying the girl and chasing the girl, and the girl has to decide whether or not to say yes or no. But we don't do much cultural storytelling about it being the other way around. And it leads to so much confusion in teenage girls, I think, because
that's true.
You fancy someone and you have no reference for how to behave with those feelings at all when you think about it.
I think the good thing that girls do, I've got a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. So I've heard like their friends, and they do talk to each other about it. So it's really nice that they have that. Do you think we should get back to the cringes? Right. I feel like you've got more cringes in you.
All right. So let's call these ones mini cringes. So I'll do a generic. I won't be specific, but I will say that I don't do this anymore, but I had, when I first started to be a comedian and get invited to parties and stuff, I got into this really bad habit of drinking as much free booze as I could, and then saying the wrong thing to the most important person in the room, like all the time. So I'll just say that I've got really distinct memories of waking up in the morning having had a heavy night out and realizing the long conversations that I would have been having with individuals are actually long conversations because they kept trying to get away from me, but I wouldn't stop talking. And now I'm very I'm just like, I must have talked myself out of so much work. So I wanted to get it off my chest. I just wanted to, my previous behaviors at industry parties, I just wanted to just get it off my chest. I put it out in the world. It's gone now. I can move on with my life. So let's just do that.
But I think my way I cope sometimes if I'm feeling a bit nervous is to talk more than I would normally. And unfiltered talking as well. I recently went to like a children's publishing party. I spent nearly the whole night saying, "Don't worry, I don't swear at schools events."
So that's what I had to say. That. So this is just a random story that I remembered thinking about this podcast. So I used to ride my bike everywhere when I had a normal job, and even when I was a comedian, because you just ride to the gigs. And the cool thing about riding your bike is you're outdoors. And one time on a Mile End Road, and I was waiting for traffic lights to turn, and I was coming home from work when I had a normal job, and I did think to myself, oh yeah, my lunch wants to communicate with me. And and I basically had wind. And I was like, well, the great thing about cycling is I'm outside. So I just thought I'll just fart up a storm
and let the wind do its work.
And also maybe it'll propel me forward. Okay. And then I don't know why I did, and I don't normally do this, by the way. I don't, because ladies don't fart. But for those 10 seconds, I wasn't a lady. And after finishing my symphony, I looked over my shoulder. There was a guy right behind me, and the look on his face was like, what is wrong with you? Like, what did you have for breakfast, lunch and dinner for the last 20 years to do that? And I would say to you that I'm a fairly fast cyclist, but the acceleration I achieved After once that light turned green, it was
yeah.
just, I think I set off a speed camera. I just thought I have to get away from this guy. But unfortunately, the Mile End Road is a really long road. And this guy was just following me, and I just thought, go away, like leave it. Anyway, eventually we parted ways, but he heard everything. He probably smelled it because he was that close to me, and I don't know, man. Just so if you are on a bike and you think because I'm outside I can fart, yes and yes, but check your. We call it inside. Check. Yeah, we call it the lifesaver check. So when you ride your bike, you always want to check over your right shoulder just to see what's going on behind you. You have to do that before you fart as well.
Fart check.
Before you turn and before you fart.
That should be in the cycling proficiency, shouldn't it?
Yeah. And here's what's cringy. During London 2012, I bought a Union Jack cycle helmet, and but at one point for about 3 days, it was the coolest thing on the planet. And now it just makes me look like in the National Front. So
we're farting while wearing that.
I was wearing that helmet. I was wearing that helmet. So he must have thought, who's this weird dreadlocked Union Jack wearing farter? Is what kind of multiculturalism was this? So very odd image all around, I think. But just to be clear, like 15 years ago, that it was a completely cool thing to do, to have that.
It was totally, and even further back than that, when you think of the Spice Girls wearing.
It goes to show a bit of a serious point, but like people don't really think about that regression. Because everyone's like, well, you can't wear a flag. So what are you talking about? At one point, I have an Adidas watch with a Brit Union Jack background on it. You know, like it was so odd, weird. But farting, that was terrible. I've got a good one. I've got a good school one for you.
Go for it.
First year of primary school, I can't tell you how many jumpers my daughter lost. It was sort of beyond reasonable. And we live in a cold country, so your jumper should be on you, right?
You need it.
So there's a lost property hut at our school, and even though we sewed her name onto the jumpers, I don't know, parents, it makes no difference, does it? It just evaporates. These clothes evaporate. You think the name will act like GPS and the clothes will work their way back to your kids. They do not.
Doesn't work like that.
So there's a lost property hut in the school, and there's a box of lost clothes, and you are encouraged to go to this hut and retrieve your clothes. So I just thought, well, it's at the end of the school year, there's going to be a load of clothes there that haven't been retrieved. I'll just take some jumpers from there.
Of course.
And if they don't have any names on them, like if it's impossible to connect these jumpers with another kid and they're my daughter's size, I'll just take them.
Exactly.
So I took my daughter to the lost property hut, and we found some jumpers, and some of them had the logo on them, right? I wasn't buying jumpers with the logo on them, but I found
I was going to say, they're the pricey ones. I sought after jumpers.
So I pulled out a couple of cardigans and I said really loudly, I found your jumpers, let's go. And obviously my daughter, being a foghorn, was like, those aren't my jumpers. Why have you taken these jumpers? Those don't belong to me. What? Like she couldn't have been more relentless about the fact I'd picked up, and I had to be like, you know what? You're right. I seem to have picked up jumpers that aren't yours by accident. It was the end of the school day. Parents everywhere, children everywhere. I just thought, oh my God, they must think I'm stealing clothes, and they're right, because I am stealing clothes.
They would have just gone in the bin.
Oh God! But later found out that they sell the clothes, so I ended up buying it for like £2. But it was just that kind of, that's not my jumper. Like, oh my God! Like it's you that lost them.
I know. Why do kids do this to us?
They're snitches. It's like it's a circle of life. We embarrass them, and they embarrass us. They snitch. Can I give you somebody else's cringe?
Yeah, go.
So my brother came over from Australia with his daughter, and his daughter. Oh, I wish I could remember the exact sentence, but it basically was about like, yeah, Dad, remember when you had so much to drink that you were sick in the sink?
You can't get away with anything with kids. They will tell all your secrets. I went to the dentist and they just asked about how much you drink and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, probably a couple of glasses of wine a week. And the kids were like, no, you don't. You have much more than that. I don't, to be fair, have much more than that. And so I started like, oh yes, but if it's a social occasion, obviously then I've been drinking more. And this, we've had a couple of birthday parties, like explaining myself while my kids are just sat like making me out to be some big liar alcoholic.
Oh, they probably get that all the time. Well, I take my kids to the dentist for their checkups, and I have a checkup too with them. And but obviously, like
you know, God forbid my teeth need a little scrape and theirs don't. For the next 2 weeks afterwards, they'll just tell random people on the bus.
Yep.
We went to the
Yep.
dentist with my mummy, and we brush our teeth twice a day, but my mummy doesn't, and the dentist had to clean her teeth.
Exactly.
It happened like once about 3 years ago, and they've just never.
They don't forget.
They've never forgotten the time my teeth needed a bit of a scrape. It's just it's just ridiculous. These kids, they're so rational. They've never seen me brush my teeth, right? Because I brush my teeth before they get out of bed, and then I brush my teeth at night time, but I help them brush theirs. So in their brains, it's like, you don't brush your teeth, man. You're disgusting. Your breath stinks. So to be fair, I actually now make a point of brushing my teeth with them because I can't deal
in front of them.
I can't deal with the social embarrassment.
No.
So yeah, kids out. I'll give you another kid story. So children eventually realise that their mums wear sanitary towels, right? And but because they rationalise with the information they have, they call them nappies. So but I don't want to be ableist, by the way. So some grown-ups, adults, do have to wear nappies. So
of course,
but she will sometimes be like, "Mummy, are you wearing your nappy today?" And it's just like,
I do. Yeah, I remember having to explain, and I actually did say to them, they are kind of like nappies, but for grown-ups and for blood.
Yeah.
So I actually did have to wear one because I ran out of sanitary towels.
You had to wear a nappy, like a child's nappy.
Yeah, I didn't do it up. I just put it in the knickers because I had to get to the shop to get some sanitary stuff. But I didn't want to drive and leak everywhere. And I remember thinking, if I have a car crash and like, so the doctors have to get me out, they'll be like, "Oh, she's wearing a nappy for that."
Good improvisation.
Yeah,
the improvisation of schools. Yeah, I guess my daughter's a bit fixated with the whole idea of periods because she's got the information, but she hasn't got the knowledge to make the information make sense. So she'll just randomly just be like, "Are you bleeding today?"
Yeah, we've always been like quite open about talking about periods. So I think I've created monsters because remember my daughter coming running over to me with a big chocolate bar in Tesco saying, "Do you want some chocolate for your periods?" It's like, so yeah.
That's really lovely.
But before we get onto the cringe problem that someone sent in, have you got anything else that you want to unleash?
Oh God, loads. I'll do a quick. I've got a quick one. My son
Go on then.
at a recent barbecue, which happened to contain a lot of hairy men. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. He kept walking up to these men and shouting at them for having so much hair on their arms, and then asking each and every one of them, "Why are you so hairy? Are you a dog?" And then because he's so cute and all of these men were like, "Yeah, I am a dog. I am a dog." And then he'd be like, "Where's your tail?" Then and I'm just sat there going, "This is just if this is going to go on, like I can't deal with this. This is very cringe." He's just got no filter, and so he likes to walk around and ask men if they're dogs. Or he'll walk up to bald men and he'll be like, quite angrily, "Why doesn't your hair grow?" As if like because he thinks hair is great. Yeah, and it's like one day he's gonna trigger someone, like one day a grown man will cry because I just shouted at him for having no hair. I think he asked these questions on purpose, to be honest. But yeah, he's very cute.
They do at that age though. It is funny, but yeah, it can be excruciating as well. So but thank you for sharing some of your parent cringes. But there are people out there who perhaps, they're not certain cringers like us. So I like to think we'll be able to help them in some kind of way. So here's one I've been sent this week. I accidentally added a boy me and my friends all have a crush on to our group chat called His Name is Fit Fan Club. So instead of a group I'd set up for a drama project we're all working on. What should I do? That's quite hard. So I imagine, say it's called Frank.
Okay.
Frank is Fit Fan Club. That is quite embarrassing. We were just talking about girls' crushes as well, so this kind of fits.
This is exactly what you would do, and I'm so pleased girls are still doing stupid things like this. Like, it's just hilarious.
They do.
So, own it. If you fact just to say, "I wrote that because this is my opinion, Frank, the ball is in your court." Yeah,
that is good. I like that.
Just own it. It's just like, this is my opinion of you, Frank, and I'm cool either way. But just so you know, wink, wink, nod, nod, That's what I would do. You got to own it, because if what I have learned over the years, if you don't own your embarrassment, it's like digging yourself into a hole. But if you own it, that's you climbing yourself out, climbing out of the hole and just moving on. So you got to own it.
You got to embrace it. Would you advise that they write him a dirty poem?
Do you know what you're doing there? That's almost unkind.
Sorry.
Now, learn from my mistakes. The last thing you want to do is write Frank a filthy, disgusting, deranged sexual poem. That's the last thing you want to do. Okay, when you talk to Frank, try to keep it legal. Yeah, and generally, when you speak to every human on the planet, try to keep it legal. Don't be repressed.
Embrace it.
Don't be repressed and weird. Okay, like we were in the 90s. Be normal. Literal girl incels. That's what we were, and it's just so. It was just. I can feel my shoulders rising up and my butt clenching of the embarrassment. Yeah. So
you unleashed it, and I sent it back.
I know it's come back. No, but it's a bit like Jesus died for us in that I wrote stupid poems so other girls didn't have to write them. I was going to say,
and now, yeah.
So this is,
and actually, it might make her feel better. She can listen to this and think, well, at least I didn't do that.
Yeah, and actually, just say it's that you can rename the group. So now the group is obviously called Frank is Fit or whatever. Just be like, rename it, like just have a cute little renaming. So just like I reveal my crushes via WhatsApp titles. So just own that.
Genius.
You just got to own it and just laugh it off.
That's actually really good advice. That's much better than my advice, where I was thinking I would try and pretend it was the name of their drama project or something. But yeah, no, I think leaning into it is better. So scrap my idea. Go with Athena's.
Well, have the option. Have the option of both ideas. Yeah.
So there's the two options. I think I would try and make myself just lean into it, and then you never know, you might get a nice boyfriend out of it. So
that's nice.
Yeah, you and Frank forever. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Athena. I knew it would be funny. I just didn't realise how much cringes you would have to
I've just scratched the surface.
But thank you. And how do you feel now they're all off your chest?
I feel great that they're off my chest, but also I feel like why me? Why am I like this? There's a cohort of people like us who do cringy things, and it's like, but why? Why do we do this to ourselves?
I think as material for comedy, whether you're writing it or you're performing it, I was speaking to your co-host on Bust or Trust, Tiernan, and he says he uses a lot of his cringes as material. He has done over the years. So that is why we are like this, because we need the material.
Yeah, I guess so. If we were cool and funky and always awesome, we wouldn't be very funny, would we?
Yeah, exactly. So before you go, is there anything you've got coming up?
Just Bust or Trust is amazing. So everybody who if you like podcasts and you like mysteries and history and science and cool things like that, Bust or Trust. And my new book, History's Most Epic Fails, is out now. And my first book, History's Most Epic Fibs, is also out. Find me on Blue Sky or Instagram, and just that's where I put stuff.
It's really nice to speak to you. Thank you. Bye. Thanks again to Athena for coming in the Cringe Club. Don't forget to check out her brilliant books, History's Most Epic Fibs and History's Most Epic Fails. And do go and listen to her brilliant podcast, Bust or Trust. Honestly, it's one of my favourites. Keep on cringing, everyone. Oh, I still hate that catchphrase.